A quick hello, and we're good to go. Welcome to the show, Dejan Mladenovski.
That's me.
That's one of the harder names to say.
Hey, it's memorable.
Lovely to meet you again. We met a couple of times, met in Thailand last and then in Sydney last year. You work for Prosperity Media.
Correct.
You're an SEO manager.
Correct.
And today we're talking about affiliate marketing without being black hat and without spamming.
Can you believe it?
No, I can't. That's why I wanted to talk about it.
100%.
Because as soon as you said affiliate marketing, I thought spam and black hat. And actually what I've just understood from what you've been saying, you're working in the construction industry, as it were. It's marketing, but it just happens to be that you're selling on. You don't have a product yourself.
Yeah, correct. So it's nothing where we're selling. We're creating, it's like a lead gen type site. It's a site that's, generating all its traffic through SEO. And quite honestly, never bought a link, never even considered using a PBN network or anything like that. Yeah. I know there's all sorts of tools out there because I've used them in previous sites. There's Xrummer, there is Straightbox, there is, think article marketing robot, social bookmarking demon. There's all these.
You know them all, don't you? You just don't use them.
GSA. I've got them all, right? So I know what they do, and I know the consequences of using them as well. So,
because you got hit by a penguin.
Got hit by a penguin,
10 years ago.
That's correct.
In Macedonia, which is a weird part of the story.
Exactly.
I was hit by a penguin in Macedonia 10 years ago.
It doesn't make sense, does it? I was like, was it the Ice Age that long ago?
So, and what I like about it is it's actually just marketing, and you've created this site, 150 pages, you were saying?
Yep, it's just basically 150 pages of content.
And it's quality content you've written yourself.
Quality content, all written, all natural, all unique. All meeting searcher intent, all researched, all fact-based. So it's serving its purpose being on there.
Yeah.
But additionally, because it's been fact-based and it's been researched, it's attracting links.
Yeah.
And I find that, there's always that age-old question, is it going to be backlinks? Is it going to be content? Well, I don't think one can go without the other. You cannot get good links without having good content unless you're buying them or doing ridiculous amounts of outreach, and you might be happening to get lucky with a couple of sites, and that might give you the flow.
But you're getting links because you're an authority in your niche market, and your niche market is construction in Sydney.
Correct. I've really niched it down to that. I think Google's is getting very, very intelligent with its natural language processing, and it's really starting to understand topic clusters and relevancy. It's really starting to understand that, to become an authority, it's no longer you could just create a site, mention a topic and rank. Right? Google knows the context of your site. It's gotten to the point where you're going to need 10 to 15 articles on that subject to then get the reward of ranking highly for that term. Yeah. So I think webmasters that understand this and websites that are very, very topically relevant are getting rewarded.
Yeah.
So,
which is lovely to hear.
It's lovely to hear.
The days when we could cheat our way to the top are perhaps not over, but they're definitely getting shorter.
I think there is a place. I think definitely there is a place. I recently went to Chiang Mai SEO conference, and I definitely can see a place for PBNs, but I can attest the people that are using them and using them correctly are making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I think if you're starting out, if you're getting into this and you think you can build a site using this strategy, you really have to know what you're doing. You basically, I don't like the word PBN, to be quite honest with you. I think really what people are doing is they're actually building niche websites in themselves. They're creating unique content on these sites, whether they be off, domains they've acquired or had for a long time or bought from an expired domain auction. They're actually creating unique properties and then leveraging that domain authority.
But then, for me, the problem that just comes back and comes back and comes back, you can't possibly run 50 sites. You can't possibly run 50 sites and be an authority and be truly relevant.
Correct.
In my opinion.
Correct.
You're always spreading. And what I like about what you're talking about is you're saying, okay, I've picked one thing, I've become niche, expert, authority, and people are giving me links because I'm useful and because I'm helpful.
Correct. And I think that's just human nature, right? Any person, we can't be a jack of all trades. There's an old saying that goes, jack of all trades, master of none. You're much better off picking and sticking to one niche and getting really good at it, really understanding it, and actually dominating that sphere rather than, having multi-general websites.
Yeah, and you're in construction.
Yeah.
Why did you pick construction? Because you said, I'm sorry, I know the answer to this. You were a builder.
Yeah, well, I used to do some demolition work when I was a bit younger.
And, you weren't a builder. You were a destroyer.
I was a destroyer. And I definitely, I drive around, the suburbs and I noticed all these cranes going up and I wasn't really seeing much information about it online. And I thought like it's one of the biggest booms the city's ever going through. There's no reporting on it. I mean, you might get the occasional, report paper from one of the big publications discussing, that there's this much $billion coming into the pipeline, or, there's this high rise coming on, and, you'll get your, as they call it, NIMBYs, not in my backyards, attesting,
I didn't know that was
development.
a thing.
It's a thing. It's a big thing in Australia, right? NIMBY, not in my backyard,
All
right?
Brilliant.
Exactly. So there was this big stigma where, like, there'd be a lot of debate whether an apartment should go up or it shouldn't, or, if the residents, was like used to an area that has like just houses and now apartments were going up. There's always like a little bit of controversy, right? But I also found that there was not really any websites going into detail explaining it, not using bias or not using, I guess, an agenda with these sites, just unbiased, like fact-based information where you could go on and you could actually get the information for these developments unbiasedly, not being seen on a real estate site promoting it, not seeing on a...
so it's becoming an independent overview of a situation.
Correct.
You don't have a product to sell, which actually makes you more independent.
Correct.
And you're just saying, well, okay, in that case, I'll make the money out of affiliates.
Correct.
Because you don't have a product.
Yeah, I feel, to be honest, with even that site, making money was just a byproduct of actually getting the whole website up and running and bringing in visitors to the website. It wasn't actually intended to make money.
You were doing it because you like construction.
I was doing it because I was liking it. I just wanted a bit of a project, and it just so happened.
Hang on, how bored do you have to be to you want to do a project
pretty
about construction?
Bored. It's amazing what people have a passion in. I mean, you can go into these skyscraper forums and you'll see people talking about so much, like in depth about what window frames are going on, like what the depth of the window on the high rise is going, the glassing, all the amenities. It's just crazy. There's a whole community around people that are, know this super in depth, and they come from very, very diverse background. So they're not all in construction. They're not all in building. They come from all walks of life. And it's very interesting what people can be passionate about in this world. So it's very, very eye-opening running this website. And
it was very rude of me to say how bored you have to be. But it is the first thing that comes to mind. But as you say, takes all sorts in the world, and if people weren't interested in that, nothing would ever happen. And
exactly. Correct. The proof is in the pudding, right? If we're getting this many traffic visitors, obviously people are looking for this thing.
How much do you get?
$25,000 a month.
Just in Sydney?
Just in Sydney.
For people who want to know about skyscrapers?
Yes.
And people are coming because they want to know about projects that are happening? Or what they can do to stop it, or what they can do to...
Yeah, so I think there's two sides to it.
I'm getting interested in construction.
Yeah. Hey, you never know. You never know. You could learn a thing or two today. It's exciting, right? So you've got two sides to it. So you've got the actual people looking to buy it and looking to find more information about it, right? They're looking to get, numbers of exactly how many apartments are in the building, about what kind of amenities and what kind of transport infrastructure is around them. Then you've got the other side, you've got the developers. So they're looking for what kind of supply. If I'm going to be thinking about potentially purchasing a development block, what other supply is coming into the suburb? What will I be up against? So it's a bit of a two-sided thing. I'd say maybe more. It's pretty much 50-50 on the data I've analyzed about who's coming on. So it's very, very interesting.
So you're serving both parties who are kind of enemies?
Yeah, I think the two are complementary, right? There's no developer without a buyer, and there's no buyer without a developer. So I guess you can say complementary. But the good thing is the content, the way it's written, does serve both intent. And I think that's why I've managed to rank so well.
But then, if you're selling the contacts, then the people who you're interested in are the buyers, not the developers.
Yes. So,
so you get the developers, you're giving free service to the developers, but not making any money.
I just haven't worked out a way to monetize that, but that's coming in time. I guess that's the natural progression of things.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where we're currently at.
Oh, okay. No, so basically what it's come down to is affiliate marketing doesn't have to be spam and black hat. It can just be marketing.
Correct.
When you don't have a product, which is the case for a lot of us.
Correct. The first step as a marketer is to have an audience, right? Facebook for a long time wasn't making money, but they had this massive platform. Yeah. So I don't think it's not always chasing the money initially. Sometimes having the platform and having the audience can then mold you into having options to monetize with different kind of strategies.
Yeah.
So I find that growing out my audience and building, and it's still growing. I've definitely got a backlog of kind of content that's coming on. So it's definitely a growing thing. And I feel like I've only scratched the surface. I feel like maybe I only have 1/10 of the market.
All right.
I feel like there's a lot more that I could be doing with the website. So it's amazing that this small niche, this small area in just one city and how much traffic you can generate. Like and to be quite honest, it can be replicated in more or less any other niche. Okay. It can be replicated in any other city in the world, right? And it can be replicated within any other niche, within any other city. So when you start to do the math, like there's a massive opportunity still to this day if you can manage to serve search intent and build great content.
Well, I mean, somewhere along the line, so it just occurred to me, I mean, the developers are doing a bad job of building their websites. So you're saying there isn't any content.
100%.
So you become that interface. They don't need to, and they pay you for the links, and it saves them having to build their own website and actually run the thing and try and make it work.
100%. Well, think about it. Like I've essentially like
so you're a community
down.
Service.
I'm a community service. That's exactly right. Like it's somewhere you go for like an unbiased opinion. Like you're just getting facts. You're just getting who's doing the development. I mean, how many apartments are in development? All the things you need to know about the development, like as both a citizen of the community and as like potential competitor of other developments. So it makes the playing field very transparent.
Brilliant stuff. And the one question that doesn't now occur to me is, you've got an audience, but do you have a community?
Yeah. So I guess
building community.
I guess this is the next step, right? So I've kind of like gotten this idea where I'm going to be building a meetup group for the local people. Okay. For the local people that are within the site. I mean, I used to have a forum, but I felt like it's not the best avenue because there are other forums that are great online that are doing a fabulous job. And do you know what? Let them have it. Like they've done a great job. They've been serving the community for 20 plus years in the space. Hey, I'm all for it and I support that. Feel like where I can come in is maybe getting them maybe to a physical location. They can just, rather than, be online, bring them to like a location that's kind of like neutral and let them discuss away their hobby and their passion. And I feel like part of it is like almost bringing together a community of these people, because I feel like if you are going to be running an authority site in this space, you owe it to the people to then kind of give them something back and show them that like you're doing something for them, and like connecting like-minded people is a passion of mine. So it goes well.
Sorry, I was interrupting you, but the whole kind of offline thing is something as digital marketers. I mean, I come from that space. Let's just do it online. We don't ever have to actually meet anybody. And we're coming back to the idea of saying, let's go and meet people because it 100%. Works so much better.
I mean, the online world just exists. If you think about it, just exists because of the offline world, right? It's just it's just a venue. It's just a platform for people. It's a venue. It's a venue. It's a place where people offline can communicate to each other. I can be sitting in a chair in Sydney. You can be sitting in a chair in Paris, and we can communicate. And it's amazing, right? I believe that, this whole idea of link building, like you mentioned, like going back to what this was all about, right? It's gone back to, not building spam links. Well, think about it. What is link building? Link building is essentially relationship building. Yep. You can't get a link without having a relationship with somebody. And how do you build relationships? Sure. I mean, there's this like big conceived notion you can go and build links by doing email outreach or, doing all sorts of things like that. But the truth is the best relationships are built in person. They're memorable. You can just really get to know the person in such a way that you wouldn't online. Sometimes you can meet people talk to people online for months and meet them in person and they're not the same. Yeah. Whereas physically, when you meet somebody, you know them. And I think if you really look at, the way I look at it is, what's Google really trying to do with the websites? I mean, I feel like they're trying to be a word of mouth.
Yeah. All right.
For like an average person. So rather than me or you asking our friends for recommendations, we ask Google.
I like the idea of Google as a recommender. I mean, as marketers, we're saying we want to be number one on Google to get the traffic, which is traffic. But it's actually saying I'm asking Google to recommend my solution, my answer to its user. And we forget, A, that it's Google's users to start with. Yep. But secondly, we're asking it to recommend us.
100%.
And you're recommendable.
Exactly. And the question is, how do you become recommendable, right? You're going to ask yourself, if you want to rank number one, would somebody looking for your service recommend you to their friends? Yeah. If they don't, well, maybe that's something to work on before just you say blatantly, let's get to the number one position. Because even if you do get to the number one position and your competitors is a better service, I mean, eventually you're going to fall back down the track. You're going to have a lower time on page and you're never going to get as many links naturally. You're not going to get mentioned as much naturally online. And it's going to cost you a lot of money if you were to employ an agency to keep you at number one. So
brilliant. So in fact, this conversation has gone from affiliate marketing without spam or black hat to marketing, and you happen to be an affiliate.
Exactly.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much.
No worries, Jason.
A quick goodbye to end the show. Thank you, Dejan.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.